As the Malaysian public awaits the release of the full list of items exempt from the Goods and Services Tax, or GST, business leaders and consumerists alike stress the importance of good implementation. While the government has recognised some key issues in Budget 2015, the expanded list of exempt items could complicate implementation. It remains to be seen how well government measures will safeguard consumers come April next year. The Federation of Malaysian Consumer Association, or FOMCA, says it is concerned about unfair profiteering. To combat this, FOMCA has made two suggestions to the government.
Suggestion number one is, how do we know which item is zero rated and which is non-zero rated if you go to hypermarket? Of course you don't know unless you carry a long list. So we want some kind of standardized color labeling to distinguish between zero rated and standard items, so that when your bill, you don't end up paying taxes for zero rated items. And number two, we have proposed to the government that they set up a call center. If consumers feel that they are being overpriced on anything, they have a right to complain.
Paul said the government is already aware of such issues and is working on enforcement as seen in Budget 2015. The budget unveiled safeguards like the GST Enforcement Unit, Price Monitoring Unit and Consumer Squads aimed at enhancing enforcement. The broader issue, Paul said, is that income is not rising in tandem with the increase of living costs. He noted that the budget did address affordable housing concerns, which is positive for the rakyat.
When it comes to other areas, for example, public transport, we feel there's much to be done. Because the second major component of household expenditure is transport. And if public transport is not up to the standards, that means you are forced to use our car, and that takes a big chunk of our salary. Yeah. So third issue that we've mentioned is also healthcare. So again, how does government policy address this issue of making public healthcare affordable? I think we have a good healthcare system, but we need to improve so that waiting time is not so long. In small towns, it's more accessible.
On that note, Bank Negara Assistant Governor Abu Hassan Al-Shari Yahya said it is important to address the higher cost of living for the low and middle income groups. He said that Budget 2015 has put measures in place to this end.
When you rationalize your subsidy program, this is where subsidy across the board actually is not going to benefit. It's actually benefit also those who are rich. What's important here is that when you have subsidy reduction, the amount that you're able to save from this should be reallocated to those targeted sectors.
Similarly, with the implementation of GST, it is hoped that the reallocation of income would in fact benefit the lower income groups. But according to tax experts Deloitte Malaysia, from the government's perspective, GST is in fact a better way of collecting revenue.
The real questions are in terms of the accountability of what the funds collected, yeah, and how do you help the poor who in a sense would be affected by GST. If you understand GST, it taxes consumption. Everybody consumes, right? So in a sense, it is non-discriminatory, right? So what happens there, of course, is that the tax is not non-discriminatory, but of course, in a sense that the poor consumes, the rich consumes, everybody consumes, you pay the tax. So the issue here is, how do we, help the lower income group, right? Who would be, in a sense, more badly affected by it.
He adds that while GST, like any other tax structure, has its fair share of shortcomings, Malaysia is as prepared as it can be for the tax to come into effect next year. Janice Tian, The Edge TV.